Interesting times these days, huh? You would think, like, I kept channeling at the end of 2023, um, the messages of, the bubbles popping, the floodgates are opening, especially in response to Jupiter stationing direct in Taurus that happened in December. And then in January, like January 20th or 21st, uh, Pluto finally moving out of Capricorn after 15 years. And I'm a cardinal sign. I'm a Cancer. So, like, anytime, like, stuff is shifting out of Capricorn for me, because it's like my sister sign, like, I can really feel it's almost like if you've ever seen Spirited Away, and when that spirit comes into the bathhouse and like they have to uncork it and they pull the bike out and they pull all the trash out, like that feeling, like it feels that way astrologically. But Ash should get a seashell because, of course, I'm a Cancer. Why wouldn't I? Ash and a seashell. Hello. Um, it's today is kind of, it's a little unscripted. I'm still in my pajamas. My hair is literally still tied up. I wanted. I feel like there's something I'm trying to like get out. Look at that. There's something I'm trying to say that I haven't been able to articulate. So I'm just gonna kind of ramble to the camera, and hopefully the message comes out. I feel like a big part of it has to do with, look at my hair, insane. It's a creature of its own creation, or whatever. Um, there's so much that has been coming up in conversation with a lot of my clients lately, that I see reflected in my own life. So I'm like, got it. Like, these are not just like interpersonal messages. Like, these are cosmic messages. Like, stuff around the theme of the wounded divine masculine. Like, I bring that up a lot, and how, due to the patriarchy, right? Like, the wounded divine masculine has disallowed itself the empowerment and connection of the divine feminine, both innately and externally. So seeing the like heteronormative relationships play out on this grand theater and grand stage of like the wounded divine masculine not allowing himself to be in touch with his own divine feminine, seeking out predominantly divine feminine beings, i.e., most women are and femmes, right? And then sabotaging it, being jealous of it because you crave it for yourself, but you can't have it, and you're taught to be conditioned in such a competitive headspace that like it's normal for you to feel like, oh, I want that. I see that you're in touch with that, and I don't have it, so you can't have it either. Like, I see it happen. As an oracle, in readings, I get a lot of love readings. First of all, I'm a love and sex magic witch anyway, so like that's really one of my big fortes. Like, I'm Venusian, so as a Hathorian priestess, like anything of and related to Hathor, including prophets, right? Like, people forget, they think that Venus is just love. Venus also rules prophets. Ironically, Venus isn't sex, Mars is sex, but like that's a conversation for another time. But I'm Venusian. Like, as a Venusian Hathorian priestess, like that's my wheelhouse. That's my specialty. My specialty is helping people transmute from lower and more negative frequencies into higher, more enlightened, more positive frequencies via love. Like, as using love as the method. So that means a lot of grief work. That means a lot of ancestor work. It's the age of the ancestors. I mean, at this point, the veil is practically non existent. So the ancestors are walking with us. If you don't have a relationship with your ancestors right now, even if they were maybe not the best people while embodied, like, you're doing yourself a disservice, because your most potent magic is always going to be attached to your ancestry. This is why, and this will be a conversation for another time too, but this is why when people, outside of a certain biological and cosmic culture, flock to that culture and start doing that magic, this is why you may find that your magic's not working that well. It's not your ancestors. Those aren't your people. That's not the well of strength that you're pulling from in this current embodiment. Again, so many notes and conversations for another time. But yeah, the divine masculine. I am witnessing a lot of the divine feminine become exasperated with having to pretty much play the divine mother role, right? Pretty much have to hold space and have compassion and be patient with the wounded divine masculine as he navigates his own energetic stagnancy. You know, like, are you gonna choose your, or what I call choosing the path of unwellness? Choosing the path of unwellness is when, someone just falls into the grooves of their trauma responses, even though it's not healthy, just because it's familiar. And you've convinced yourself on the front end, in the short run, that it's easier for you to do that, but in the long run, it disadvantages you. It disadvantages you and it handicaps you because you could have been doing this work and expanding in this period, but instead you're like, this is what I know how to do. I'm familiar with this. It may not make me feel great, but it's already what I know how to do, and it's just easier to stick with what I know how to do. It's just not the case. So a lot of the wounded divine masculine is in that space of choosing their mental illness, and mental illness, but like I definitely, my views are very much in coherence with like the Eastern Taoist tradition, where like all ailments have a spiritual root, because everything is energy, and spiritual is the language that we use to conceptualize energy in a non-scientific setting, which is crazy to me because I was secular for a long time, even though I come from a maternal line of like magical women, Jewish witches. I rejected the Abrahamic God, so I thought I was atheist for a long time, and I'm so sleepy, you guys. What was I rambling about? Me being secular, come from a line of Jewish witches. What was I talking about? Something. I was talking about something. Mind masculine, wounded, trauma response. Yeah, what else I about? No, I'm saying ancestor magic. Okay, I remember what I was saying. I was talking about how pretty much magic and science are the same thing, because it's literally just trying to decode like the rules or whatever of energy and stuff. And how I found my way into being really connected to my ancestral magic through being a scientist. Like, because I was self-identified as, atheist agnostic for such a long time. Um, but I've always been into experimentation, and literally, I'll do a whole story on the process of my remembering because I don't like using the language of awakening, like, right? So, like, capitalized, new agey, hot garbage. Remembering is even more ancestral language, I feel like, because it echoes soul retrieval. It's like going through life and like experiencing stimuli where you start to remember a little bit more about who you are, what you are, how you got here, if that's relevant, like what you're supposed to be doing here. Like when I finally remembered what my job was, man, I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. Anyway, but yeah, I just wanted to ramble a little bit about some of the stuff that's been coming up in conversation a lot lately, like the emphasis of the astrology kind of this year being a collecting, reaping what you've sown, like a collecting on all the compounded investments, energetic investments you've been putting in. Just this is for everyone, like collectively. Um, it's just been a very, and today's like the new moon or the start of the new moon, while the moon is still in Aquarius, but it transitions into Pisces while in the new moon phase. I'm like, you guys don't even understand the amount of like bounty flooding in energy that's like coming, especially as a result of all these cosmic shifts. I don't generally, I don't want to say generally, I've never actually like done any like readings on camera. Um, but I do want to pull at least a card to summarize. I'm gonna use this gift. This deck was gifted to me by a very close friend, but and it's one of the ones that I use in a lot of my readings actually. But the Kuan Yin Pocket Oracle. Apparently, the cards have the same pictures and information. The difference is that there's no book. Like there's just like a picture on one side and words on the other. But yeah, just to kind of like wrap my ramblings together, and you know, even just give you guys a little a sprinkle of insight going forward for this new moon right now. Ooh, she's got a bunny. Every time I pull, but can you see the little bunny? Bing, it's a little tiny bunny. I have bunnies. I have 3 bunnies. And, you know, bunnies were associated with witches before cats were. Why do you think magicians pull bunnies out of hats? I'm just saying. I have 3 bunnies. You will see them at some point, probably, if I continue to upload videos, right? So we got Spin the Silken Thread Divine. In creating precious silks, there's a sorting process of sifting out that which is broken to find that which is precious and pure. You are commencing a new cycle, and it is time to release that which does not align with your true heart. Choose to release all vows, agreements, and connections that no longer serve your highest good. Wow. Especially given that today's the new moon. It's very much new intentions, like the fact that I'm doing this video as my first sort of YouTube video, whatever, you know, new intentions, new projects, but especially like an erasure or revision of limiting belief language, because this is the abundant year for everybody who's actually been putting in the work and not just saying, oh, shadow work, oh, kundalini, meh, 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 meh. I'm like, those words mean things. The Tower of Babel got y'all messed up. I almost said something not so kid friendly. Got y'all messed up because words mean things. And people are over here throwing around shadow work and Akashic, like throwing around language and not understanding like the amount of work and wisdom and like building blocks that like come together to create that like experience. Everyone will learn in their own time. It is what it is. But yeah, like this is the abundant time. This is the time to like receive returns. So it's kind of like you can't be stuck in that stagnant energy like I was talking about with like the wounded divine masculine, because it's literally a time for abundance. Jupiter in Taurus, the implications of expansive, abundant, and growth energy of Jupiter in the sign of Taurus, where like yes, stability and like home life, but especially like profits. When I think Taurus, I'm a Taurus Venus, so bear in mind my bias. But when I think Taurus, especially with Jupiter energy, I think opulence. I think like dripping in jewels. I think literally levitating off the ground in your fucking goddess era. So hard for me not to curse. I'm gonna do my best. So just wanted to get on here, give a little sample rant of what's been floating around in the sphere of the readings I've been doing with clients. If you're interested in getting a reading, you can find me on Sanctuary World, or you can like book through my website, themothqueen.com. Pretty straightforward. I do have some interesting stuff. I went to some the Light Center again out in Black Mountain, and I took some footage. Probably gonna end up as a short because I'll take pictures and like short videos, but I'm just not really built to be a videographer. So I do want to show you guys, especially if you're not in the Asheville area, like how cool the Light Center is and give a little information on that. So working on getting that project out. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and get off. Try to like tweak this video so that it looks a little whatever. And I'm sorry it's so fuzzy. I'm just using my laptop camera. I should have used my phone, but uploading stuff from my phone was like a nightmare. So anyway, happy new moon, you guys, and hopefully I will be consistent enough with putting content out. Ugh, I don't want to be a content creator. All right, bye.